Before we start the video, make sure to subscribe to our channel, The Forgotten Files. Also, drop a comment below telling us where in the world you're watching from and what time it is. Alright, let's get started. Georgia, 1843. There is a place where footsteps were once heard moving inside a locked cabin, after the children inside had already died. A place where two 12-year-old enslaved twins were seen standing in two places at once. A place where an entire plantation refused to speak of what they witnessed, even on their deathbeds. Tonight, we open the locked door of the Goodwater Estate, a farm built over an older wound in the land, a wound older than the state itself. This story was whispered, buried, and finally abandoned after the Civil War. But fragments remain: a journal, a priest's letter, and testimonies from people who swore the twins were not simply children, but conduits for something older and something hungry. Long before the plantation rose, the land was marked on old creek maps with a symbol resembling two circles connected by a single line. Elders described it simply as the crossing. No building ever stood here longer than a decade. Roofs collapsed without storms. Wells dried overnight. Animals refused to graze. Yet, in 1839, a wealthy planter named Josiah Goodwater ignored every warning. He built his home at the exact center of the crossing, confident he could force the land into obedience the same way he forced people. He purchased dozens of enslaved workers, including a pair of twins taken from coastal Carolina, Elias and Isaiah, both 12, both silent, both rumored to dream with their eyes open. Within a year, strange things began. Doors unlocking at night, lanterns relighting after being blown out, and the twins, always standing together, staring at the woods, whispering in a language no one recognized. The Goodwater overseer, a man known for cruelty, claimed the twins never blinked at the same time. Whenever he entered the slave quarters, one twin would watch him directly, while the other stared just past his shoulder, as if seeing something he couldn't. They spoke little to the other enslaved workers, but at night, the women heard them chanting softly, their voices perfectly synchronized, like one voice split into two bodies. And then, the first anomaly. One night, Elias was asked by another boy if he feared the overseer. Elias answered calmly, "Fear belongs to people who have only one life." The boy didn't understand. But Isaiah, sitting across the room, nodded as if he'd heard the conversation from miles away. The plantation's small wooden church was run by a young preacher, Samuel Dorsey, who was troubled from the start. He claimed the twins pulled attention toward them, like gravity. He reported to Goodwater that when he prayed, the twins would quietly finish the verses before he could speak them aloud. The preacher wrote a line in his private journal: "Their eyes move before their heads do, as if their sight obeys another master." Dorsey tried separating them during Sunday lessons. Within minutes, candles exploded, the floorboards vibrated, and every child in the room began to cry. He never separated them again. In late spring 1843, the air grew heavy with the smell of rain. Animals hid. Workers rushed to cover tools. Even Goodwater ordered shutters closed. But the storm never arrived. Not a single drop. Yet thunder rolled for hours. During this strange non-storm, the twins walked calmly through the fields, barefoot, holding hands. The grass flattened as they passed, not from wind, but as if something large moved behind them, dragging the weight of centuries. One man swore he saw two silhouettes walking behind the boys, taller than pine trees, keeping perfect rhythm with their steps. When he blinked, they were gone. The overseer vanished on the night of June 4th. He had been drunk, screaming threats about whipping the twins until their shadows left their bodies. At dawn, his cabin was empty. His boots were neatly placed at the foot of his bed. His belt, the same belt he beat people with, was found coiled tightly, snapped in half like a twig. The soil outside his door was disturbed, swirling in patterns shaped like the old creek symbol. Two circles connected by a line. Goodwater blamed escape or robbery, but the enslaved workers whispered a different story. The twins had been awake all night, sitting outside, staring at the overseer's cabin, hands lightly clasped. Smiling, Goodwater, now desperate, locked the twins in a storage cabin, convinced they were responsible for the overseer's disappearance. The door was bolted from the outside, shutters nailed shut, a guard posted. But at midnight, people across the plantation saw the twins walking in the cornfield, whispering to each other, their shadows stretching across the ground like long rivers. Yet, when Goodwater rushed to the cabin, they were still inside, sitting exactly where he'd left them, breathing in perfect unison. Nobody slept that night. A younger enslaved boy, Jacob, began waking up screaming. He claimed the twins spoke inside his head, showing him places under the dirt where the land remembers pain. He described tunnels, rooms with no doors, faces pressed into soil like clay masks. Goodwater dismissed Jacob as unstable, until Jacob drew the exact same creek symbol on the floor with chalk dust. He had never seen it before. When asked how he knew it, Jacob said, "The twins showed me the way back. The way back before they were born." By midsummer, the main house began to decay unnaturally fast. Would split without pressure. Plants inside the home grew mold overnight. The well water turned bitter, reflecting no light. The twins, meanwhile, remained untouched by illness. Their skin glowed strangely in twilight. And every morning they walked the same path through the fields, as if following lines only they could see. Workers noticed that birds never landed within 10 feet of them. Not once. Even Goodwater's dog refused to look at the twins, howling whenever they approached. Father Benton, a traveling Catholic priest, visited the plantation after hearing rumors of unnatural twins. He expected superstition. What he found terrified him. He claimed the boys recognized him instantly, though they had never met. They recited a prayer in Latin that had not been used publicly for over 200 years. Then Elias asked the priest a question that made him turn pale. "Do you hear them too?" That night, Father Benton refused to stay in the main house. He slept in his wagon, clutching his crucifix until dawn. The old forest behind Goodwater Estate had long been considered cursed. No enslaved worker dared enter beyond the first row of trees. But the twins did. Daily, calmly, as if following familiar trails. Witnesses claimed the trees leaned toward the boys, literally bending, forming an archway above them. From the woods came a sound like distant humming. Not wind, not insects. Something deeper, older. As if the forest itself murmured their names. The plantation's physician, Dr. Harrow, arrived after hearing about widespread illness. He laughed at rumors of cursed twins. 3 days later, he died screaming. His body was found near the woods, skin pale, mouth filled with soil, as if the earth had tried to swallow him whole. The twins were seen watching from a distance, their faces expressionless. Isaiah whispered to a nearby woman. He stepped where the past breathes. Goodwater's personal journal, discovered decades later, contains pages of trembling handwriting. He writes that the twins were splitting at night, not physically, but appearing in different places across the plantation at the same time. He described seeing Elias outside the house at dusk, then turning to find Isaiah standing behind him. Yet both boys speaking the same sentence in perfect harmony. "What you built here does not belong." The Creek elders once described rituals performed on this land to seal the doorway between mirrors of the world. 2 children were required. Always 2. Always twins. Goodwater had unknowingly broken a centuries-old seal when he built his home. And the twins, stolen from their family, were naturally attuned to something ancient. They weren't causing the disturbance. They were answering it. Animals began dying. Horses fled. Crops shriveled into black husks. Then the ground began sinking in certain places, as if tunnels beneath the soil were collapsing. Goodwater attempted to flee the plantation. Every road he took led him back to his own front gate. The land had become a maze, a trap, a mouth slowly closing. One worker swore he saw the twins at midnight, illuminated by moonlight, each casting 2 shadows. One normal, the other stretching impossibly long, vanishing into the woods. The longer shadows moved independently, twitching like limbs remembering old gestures. The worker fled in terror, claiming he heard one shadow speak his name. He never returned. On the night of August 11th, 1843, the plantation erupted with screams. The twins walked hand in hand toward the forest, and every lantern on the property ignited without flame. The earth trembled. The air vibrated like a plucked string. Goodwater chased the boys, shouting curses. He vanished into the woods. He was never seen again. The twins disappeared moments later. Their footprints led into the forest, but none led out. By 1845, Goodwater Estate was abandoned. Trees reclaimed the buildings. The church collapsed. The fields turned to marsh. Survivors scattered across Georgia, refusing to speak. Some claimed the twins became guardians. Others claimed they became warnings. The Creek elders, when hearing the story, simply said, "The crossing closes when it has what it needs." In 1931, a historian uncovered 3 artifacts in the ruins. A rusted locket containing drawings of 2 boys holding hands, a page with the Creek symbol burned into it, and a note written by Father Benton. They were not children of terror. They were children of truth. It was we who were the intruders. None of these items were ever officially cataloged. The historian disappeared 6 months later. The twins were never found. No graves, no remains, no explanation. But locals say that on certain summer nights, 2 figures can be seen standing at the edge of the Goodwater Woods, motionless, waiting, holding hands. Some believe they protect the land from future harm. Others believe they're still searching for a doorway that was opened by suffering, kept open by blood, and closed by 2 children who carried centuries inside their bones. Whatever the truth is, one thing is undeniable: the land remembers, and it does not forget those who try to wake it.